All right, thank you for joining me again today. Like I said, in this part 3 of my testimony, I'm going to talk a little bit about when I saw the angels when I was young. I said I would either talk about that or my eyesight, being blind, and God give me back my sight. But I've decided to just speak on the angels. It's not going to be very long. All right, the way it started, and this is really when I think the Lord started ministering to me. He really started speaking to me. This was like the onset of everything. So I was 8 years old. We were living in a what I call a tri-level. You have on the bottom floor a den, the garage. Middle floor was kitchen, dining room, living room, and then you go up a couple stairs and you're in the bedrooms, which we had 4 bedrooms upstairs and 2 baths, and then we had a half bath downstairs. In the basement we had an apartment for my grandmother. So anyway, we're living in this tri-level, and I'd gone to sleep one night, and I woke up, and it had to be 2-3 o'clock in the morning. It was early in the morning, and as you go up the stairs, at the head of the stairs, there was my room to the left, my sister's room to the right. At the end of the hallway was a spare bedroom, and then past my room to the front of the house, there was my parents' bedroom. So top of the stairs, here's my bedroom up here. I woke up and I saw a light coming from the hallway downstairs, the stairway, and it was that kind of light, you know, somebody's downstairs in the kitchen hallway area. So I got up thinking, well, maybe one of my parents couldn't sleep, or somebody. I knew somebody was up, you know, because the lights shouldn't be on that time of morning. So I walked down the stairs and into the kitchen, and there's no lights on. There's nobody there. The den, I could see down into the den. You know, and you could see like the moonlight outside coming in the windows and that kind of thing. I didn't see anything. Walked through the dining room, the living room, back around in the hallway to the stairs. Nothing. I saw there was a light in the hallway. So I round the corner, start up, you know, turn to go up the stairs, and they're sitting on the stairs. And like I said, this was probably 8 steps, maybe, I'm guessing, up to the next floor. And sitting about 2-3 steps up on the stairs, there were 2 angels, and my sister was sitting on the stairs. At this time, she was 8, 7, 6, 5. She had to be 4 or 5. She was young. She was just sitting there like she's asleep. So these 2 angels were sitting on the steps above her, like the same step, and I can see it in my mind. I can see it like it was yesterday. The one angel looks at me, and I wasn't afraid. They were huge. They weren't with wings and like, it wasn't like that. These were just men that were about 7 feet tall, 8 feet tall, big men. And they were in white. They just like glowed. It was amazing. But anyway, the one angel who was sitting to the right of my sister, all he did was he had his hand like this, and he rolls out his hand. And in his hand, I didn't know at the time, but in his hand were all these drugs. There was cocaine, there was marijuana, there was pills, there was needles, there was all kinds of things sitting in his hand. And I just remember his hand was as big as a dinner plate, it seemed like. But he held out his hand, and he said, "Doug," he said, "whatever you do, when you get older, don't ever touch this stuff." And, you know, I'm just like, oh, okay. Okay. And he said, "Come on, we'll go to bed." Well, they stood up. My sister stood up, and they guided us to the top of the stairs. The one angel went to the right and into my sister's room. I went to the left into my room. I laid down in the bed, and he says, "It's okay. Don't worry." Just remember what I told you. And I said, okay. And it just kind of just disappeared. So that's the story of me seeing angels. I've seen, since then, I've seen glimpses. I've seen angels in church. I've seen demons. I've seen more demons in church than I've seen angels in church. And that's pretty sad. I'll have to tell you about the church. I was a youth pastor and assistant pastor. That we helped birth this church. It was started as a home church, and we built this church. And then we left the pastor. I was the assistant pastor and youth pastor at that church. We left them because the pastor wasn't doing good things. The church folded. A year or two later, another pastor who came to, at the time it was Atlanta, East Atlanta, Stone Mountain area. He came and he took over the church. So this is a church I helped design, I helped to build. We left it, and it folded when this pastor was found out the wrongdoings. Came back to the church with another pastor and started it back up again. Big church. And I saw there was a lot of demon stuff going on in that church. And I'll be happy to tell you about that at a later time. But anyway, like I said, I haven't seen angels like that again in my life. I've seen glimpses of them, just like a snapshot. Phew, there he is, poof, there it's gone. And I've seen that a couple of times. But in all honesty, I've seen more demons than I've seen angels. And, you know, I always wondered, and I asked God about that. And the thing that comes to mind is, Satan, like I said in the last testimony, he's going to give you what you want. He needs to keep you there. He's enticing you. So he's going to allow you to see these demons. He's going to allow you to work in the supernatural, to work magic, to work witchcraft, all this stuff. Because you got to remember, works will not ever get us into heaven. Never, ever, ever. It's faith that gets us into heaven. Satan, on the other hand, he deals only in works. Okay? He deals in giving you pleasures. Sin is fun. Let's not, candy coat it. It is fun to sin. If it wasn't fun to sin, and it wasn't fun to do the things Satan wants you to do, if it wasn't fun to do the things that God doesn't want you to do, it would be easy to get into heaven. It would be easy to stay away from Satan if it wasn't fun. So God wants us to have faith. He said, if you have the faith of a mustard seed, you can say to the mountain, be moved, and it'll be cast into the sea. So it's faith. Think about it. If you're seeing angels all the time, if you're seeing Jesus all the time, if you're hearing an audible voice all the time, it's easy to take that for granted. And it's easier to lose faith when you're getting so much of that stuff. So that's just the way that I've seen it happen in my life. When I was in Bible school, one of the first classes I had to take was Old Testament Speaks. I hated the class. I hated it. It was a terrible class down at Southeastern University in Lakewood, Florida. Terrible class. I didn't enjoy it at all. But the one thing that I remember that this professor said, he said that experiencing the supernatural will never keep you from sinning. A lot of people say, even at Jesus' time when he was being crucified, the Pharisees said to him, save yourself. If you're God, that you can call down the angels from heaven and save yourself. But Jesus didn't do it. And I think that saying, and there was a word associated with it, and to be honest, I can't remember the word. But to think, a lot of people pray, well, God, if I see you, if I see an angel, if I do this, then I'll believe. No, God's not going to do that, because it's not going to help you believe. Jesus walked among the people. Jesus did more miracles in 3 years than anybody else. I think it was John that said, if all the things were written that Jesus did, that the world couldn't contain all the books that it would take to record all that. I think he was being a little facetious in that. We got, but the point is, Jesus did miracles everywhere he went. Everywhere. He was healing people. He was delivering people from demons. And they didn't believe. So why would somebody believe today if they see it? I think there are people who do, and I think God allows certain things to happen to put into a solid foundation somebody's belief. But the point is, I was 8 years old. Okay, I saw these 2 angels. I spent probably 3 to 5 minutes with them total. That was it. Probably more like 3 minutes. And it didn't keep me from sinning. Like I said, I got into witchcraft. I got into demonology, the occult, drugs. Every drug that angel held in his hand, I did. And I don't know why. I did a lot of bad things. And that it didn't help keep me from doing that. So don't pray for that. Pray for faith. Pray that you hear God's voice. Everybody here hear God's voice. If you just be still and listen. Daniel Kalenda said something recently which I really liked. He said, you know how when you're in a crowd of people and there's all these people around and you hear your name mentioned from afar off. Somebody says, hey Doug, or hey June, or hey Mary, or Chrissy, or Betty, whatever. But you immediately recognize that and you're like, what? That's the way it is with Jesus. With the Lord speaking to you. You're going to hear that sound that you know. Jesus said, my sheep know my name. So just listen and be quiet. And the easiest way I've found, especially with my children, I've taught them this. You pray to God, you thank Him, then you're quiet and you listen. Ask Him to speak to you. Ask Him to open your ears and you'll hear it. My 13-year-old, he's hearing God every day. He's talking to Jesus in school. But you got to listen, and there's a way to go into worship. There's a way to go into prayer that emulates the temple in the way that the priest entered in the temple, and I'll talk about that. It's really cool stuff. But anyway, that's all I have for today. I thank you for listening. I promise you next time I'll be talking on getting my eyesight back. And we'll see where we go from there. Thank you. God bless you. You have a good day.